I want you to picture a scenario. It's a Tuesday morning. The alarm goes off. You wake up, you roll over, and before your feet even touch the floor, before you've even had a conscious thought about who you are or what day it is, you grab your phone.
The reach, the automatic reach.
The reach. And you tell yourself the lie we all tell ourselves. I'm just going to check the weather so I know what to wear.
Right. It's a reasonable excuse. It feels productive, even.
Feels completely reasonable, right? You need to know if it's raining. That is like a survival instinct.
It's the gateway drug of digital consumption. It's never just the weather.
Never. Exactly. Because right next to that innocent little sun or cloud icon, there's a little red dot on your email app.
Oh, of course there is.
And below that, a notification from Instagram that someone you barely know, like a photo you posted 3 weeks ago. And a news alert about, I don't know, a crisis in a country you can't find on a map.
And each one is a little siren call, a little tug on your attention.
It is. So you tap the email, just a quick check, you think. Then you tap Instagram. Then you see a reel about a recipe for sourdough bread, which reminds you that you need to buy flour, so you open Amazon, and suddenly you look up, and 20 minutes have vanished.
Gone. Vaporized into the ether. Just poof.
And here's the kicker. You still don't know if it's going to rain.
Not a clue.
But you do know that your high school friend's cousin just went to Bali, and for some reason, that makes you feel slightly worse about your own life. Does that sound familiar?
It sounds painfully familiar. I think that is the universal modern experience. It's the twitch, the unconscious reach for the phone.
The twitch. I like that.
And what you just described, that 20-minute black hole, that is exactly what we are tackling today. But I want to be clear right off the bat. This isn't just about wasting time. We aren't here to lecture you about productivity. It's about what that twitch is doing to our brains.
Right. Today on the Deep Dive, we are unpacking digital minimalism. And I want to stop everyone right there because I know what you're thinking.
Right.
You're thinking we're going to tell you to throw your iPhone into a river, move to a cabin in the woods, grow a beard, and start communicating via carrier pigeon.
Which, to be fair, sounds lovely on some days. I think we all have that fantasy.
Oh, completely.
But that is not what this is. That's escapism. Digital minimalism is about engagement. It's about being more present in your life, not less.
Okay, so let's set the stage. We have a massive stack of research today. We've got insights from Cal Newport's methodology, some really tactical guides from sources like DeepSeek and Claude, and some eye-opening data from Copilot.
Yeah, the data's pretty stark.
And the headline here, the big takeaway, is that digital minimalism is not about being a Luddite. It isn't about rejecting technology. I love my GPS. I love Spotify. I am not giving those up.
No, absolutely not. And you shouldn't have to. If you look at the definitions across our sources, particularly how Cal Newport frames it, digital minimalism is a philosophy of intentionality. That is the key word.
Intentionality.
It is about using technology to support your values rather than letting it control your time and attention. It's the difference between you using the hammer and, well, the hammer using you.
I love that distinction, but I have to challenge it slightly. Because right now, for a lot of us, it doesn't feel like we're holding the hammer.
Right.
It feels like the hammer is hitting us in the face repeatedly, and we're thanking it for the engagement. So what is our actual mission today? If you're listening to this, our goal is to move you from a state of digital noise, that frazzled, constantly distracted feeling, to a state of focus.
To a state of calm, really.
Yes. We want to get you to JOMO.
JOMO, the joy of missing out.
It's the opposite of FOMO, the fear of missing out, and it sounds delightful. We're going to cover the philosophy, the audit, the dumb phone setup, and the behavioral changes you need to actually stick with this.
The whole toolkit.
The whole thing. But I have to admit, looking at the digital declutter protocols we have to discuss, I felt a spike of genuine anxiety. The idea of stripping back my phone use, that makes me nervous. I'm not going to lie.
And that anxiety is real. It's a withdrawal symptom, literally. Your brain is anticipating the loss of a stimulant, but the reassurance I want to offer right at the top, based on everything we've read, is that this is about optimization, not deprivation.
Optimization, not deprivation.
You aren't losing anything valuable. You're cutting away the junk to make room for the stuff that actually matters.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the philosophy, because if you don't get the mindset right, none of the tactics will stick.
They won't. It'll just feel like punishment.
We're talking about intentionality versus dependence. Why is this shift so hard for us to make?
Well, the core mindset shift here is realizing that technology has drifted from being a tool to being a pacifier.
The pacifier. That's a strong word.
It is, but think about it. What do we do when we're bored? Anxious? Lonely? We reach for the phone. It's a digital pacifier. And we have some staggering numbers to back this up.
Okay, me.
There's a stat from our Copilot source that really stopped me in my tracks. It said that people switch between apps up to 300 times a day.
Wait, say that again. 300.
300, 3 out of 0.
Let's do the math on that. If you're awake for roughly 16 hours, that's what, almost every 3 minutes.
Roughly, yes. And that's an average. For heavy users, it's significantly higher. It's a constant, fragmented stream of context switching.
That is exhausting. Just hearing that number makes me tired. I can feel my brain hurting.
It is exhausting. And think about the cognitive load of that. This is where we get into the concept of attention residue, which Newport talks about extensively.
Attention residue. Okay, break that down.
Every time you switch contexts, from an email to a text to a news alert to a game, you are breaking your focus. But your brain doesn't just snap back to the previous task instantly. It's not a clean break.
It's not a light switch.
Exactly. A piece of your attention remains stuck on the previous task. So if you're writing a report and you quickly check an email that makes you slightly annoyed and then you try to go back to the report, you're effectively dumber.
Dumber.
For a period of time, yes. Your processing power is diminished because part of your brain's RAM is still processing that email you just glanced at. The residue of that last task is degrading your performance on the current one.
So if we are switching 300 times a day, we are basically living in a state of permanent cognitive handicap. We're operating at, 70% capacity all day long?
Precisely. You are never operating at full capacity. You're fragmenting your attention into confetti.
Yeah.
You can't think deeply if you are rebooting your attention span 300 times a day.
It's like trying to sleep, but someone turns the lights on and off every 2 minutes. You never get into REM sleep.
That's a perfect analogy.
You never get into deep thought. But here's the counter-argument I hear all the time, and frankly, I use it myself. But this app is useful. I keep LinkedIn because it's useful for my career. I keep Twitter because it's useful for breaking news. I keep Instagram because it's useful for seeing what my nieces are doing.
And that is the trap. This is a concept we saw in the Kimi and Claude summaries. They call it the potential usefulness trap.
The potential usefulness trap.
Usually, when we download an app or keep one on our phone, the bar is set incredibly low. We ask, is this potentially useful?
Right. Might I need to scan a QR code at a restaurant one day? Sure, I'll keep the app. Might I want to see what my ex-colleague is doing in their new job? Sure, I'll keep LinkedIn on my phone.
And the answer to, is it potentially useful, is almost always yes. Everything is potentially useful. A plastic bag is potentially useful if you need to carry a wet swimsuit, but you don't hoard 5,000 of them in your pockets just in case.
Speak for yourself, I have a drawer full of them. But I see your point. We are digital hoarders.
We are. We're hoarding potential benefits without ever calculating the actual cost. The minimalist asks a much harder, much better question. They don't ask if it has some benefit. They ask, does this app add significant value to my life? And even more importantly, does this app support the things I value most?
That's a much higher bar.
Yeah.
That requires you to actually know what you value most.
Oh, it does. That's the foundational work. You have to identify what you want more of. Do you want more deep work? Do you want more connection with your kids face-to-face? Do you want more time to read books?
And then the flip side.
And then you ask, what do I want less of? Usually that's anxiety, mindless scrolling, and that feeling of fragmentation we just talked about.
It's an economic equation, really. We usually think the cost of an app is just the price tag, 0.99 cents, or more often free. But the real cost is your attention.
Attention and time. Those are your two most finite, most precious resources. You can always make more money. You cannot make more time.
That's so true.
Every time you say yes to a notification, you are effectively saying no to something else. If you spend 45 minutes doom scrolling on Twitter or X, you have said no to 45 minutes of reading or 45 minutes of sleep or 45 minutes of talking to your partner without a screen between you.
That's where the JOMO comes in, right? The joy of missing out.
Exactly.
We're so terrified that if we aren't checking our feeds, we'll miss something important. But the reality is, by constantly checking the feeds, we are missing our actual lives unfolding right in front of us.
Precisely. The Kimi source highlights this beautifully. JOMO is the relief of realizing you don't need to know everything right now. You don't need to have the hot take on the latest scandal instantly. You can step out of the stream.
And what happens when you do?
When you do, the silence isn't empty, it's peaceful. It's the feeling of having your brain back. It's the joy of being in charge of your own attention again.
Okay, I'm sold on the philosophy. I want the peace. I want the JOMO. But how do we actually do this? Because willpower alone. I don't trust my willpower against $1 trillion tech company that has designed its product to hijack my brain. These algorithms are smarter than me.
And you shouldn't trust your willpower. You can't out-willpower an algorithm that knows exactly what color red to use to make your heart rate spike just a little.
Right.
You need a system. The sources outline a very clear multi-phase process. It starts with phase 1, the audit.
This is the look yourself in the mirror phase, the moment of truth.
It is, and it's usually week 1. You can't change what you don't measure. The DeepSeek and Gemini sources emphasize this. You need to gather raw data on yourself.
So we're talking about using tools here, like the built-in screen time apps.
Yes, most phones have screen time or digital well-being built in now, or you can use a more robust tool like Rescue Time. But the key is you need to look at the numbers, and I mean really look at them.
No judgment, just observation.
For now, yes. How many hours a day are you on your device?
4 hours.
6 hours. How many times do you pick it up? 100 times, 150 times. Which apps are consuming the most time?
I think for a lot of people, seeing that number is shocking. It's like stepping on the scale after the holidays.
It is.
You see 5 hours and 23 minutes, and you think, I have a full-time job. I have a family. How is this possible?
It adds up in the margins. It's the 5 minutes in the elevator, the 10 minutes waiting for the coffee to brew, the 30 minutes in bed before you go to sleep. It's all those little pockets of in-between time.
Okay, so you have the data. You're horrified. What's next?
Then you categorize. This is a crucial step. You have to go through your app list and separate the tools from the pacifiers.
Okay, define the difference. Because I tell myself Twitter is a tool for work. I'm staying informed.
And you have to be brutally honest with yourself here. A tool is something you use to complete a specific task, and then you close it. Maps is a tool. Uber is a tool. Your banking app is a tool.
You don't browse Uber for fun.
Right. You don't open Google Maps just to see if there are any new routes today.
Oh, look at that Prius over there. Nice. Yeah. No.
Exactly. Those are intentional uses. But then you have the habits or the pacifiers. These are the apps you open when you're bored, anxious, or lonely. Instagram, TikTok, news feeds, even email for a lot of people. These are the ones where you look for a dopamine hit. The ones with the infinite scroll.
The slot machines.
The digital slot machines, exactly. So you're identifying your dependencies. That's the audit. You spend a week just watching yourself, realizing, wow, I open Twitter every single time I feel slightly awkward in a social situation.
Yeah.
You are diagnosing the trigger. What is the feeling that precedes the action? And once you know the enemy, you move to phase 2. This is a big one.
This is the main event.
This is the digital declutter.
The 30-day reset. Now, I have to push back here. 30 days, that feels aggressive. It feels extreme. Why not a weekend? Why not just cut back?
Because cutting back doesn't work for addiction. And let's call it what it is. It's a behavioral addiction. The brain patterns mimic other addictions. Okay. DeepSeek and ChatGPT describe this, and it comes straight from Cal Newport's work. It is a rigorous 30-day break from all optional technologies. The reason it has to be 30 days is that your brain needs that long to reset its dopamine baseline. A weekend isn't enough to rewire the neural pathways that are screaming for a quick hit.
So you're essentially starving the beast.
You're starving the beast and allowing your brain to heal and remember what it's like to not be constantly stimulated.
Okay, so define optional. Because if I delete Slack, I get fired. And if I delete my banking app, I might have trouble paying bills.
The rule is this. If it's not essential for your job, and I mean truly essential, not just convenient or essential for keeping your family safe and alive, it goes.
For 30 days.
For 30 days.
So no Instagram, no Netflix on the phone, no news apps, no games, no podcasts on the go, maybe.
Gone. Deleted from the phone for 30 days.
That sounds intense. That sounds like going cold turkey on caffeine and sugar and, I don't know, oxygen at the same time.
It is intense, and the sources are very clear about this. The withdrawal will be hard. The first week, especially.
What does that feel like?
Your brain has been rewired to expect constant stimulation. When you take that away, you will feel bored, deeply bored. You'll feel antsy. You might even feel a phantom vibration in your pocket.
I've had that. That's a real thing.
It's a very real thing. You might stand in line at the grocery store and feel a wave of actual panic because you have nothing to do with your hands.
And your brain is screaming, give me a feed, give me something to look at.
Yes. But this isn't just about suffering for the sake of suffering, right? There's a critical component here that I think people miss, and if they miss it, they fail.
Which is?
If you just delete the apps and sit on your couch staring at the wall, you're going to fail. You'll last 2 days and then reinstall everything.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Correct. This is the crucial step mentioned in the sources. You must replace that digital time with high-quality analog activities.
So it's not about subtraction, it's about substitution.
It's about aggressive replacement. You have to have a plan before you start. You need to write a list. When I feel the urge to check my phone, I will
Read a book.
go for a walk, work on a woodworking project, play an instrument, call a friend on the actual phone.
What a concept.
You have to rediscover what you used to do before you had a supercomputer in your pocket. What did you do for fun? What were your hobbies?
It's about remembering that you used to enjoy painting or shooting hoops or just sitting on a porch and thinking.
And you have to schedule these things. Read for 30 minutes on your calendar. Sign up for a pottery class. Join a local hiking group. Be proactive.
And Kimi mentions a great maintenance strategy that fits in here. Or maybe it's for after the 30 days. The one in, one out rule.
I love that one.
Explain that.
It's simple. If you eventually decide, after the declutter, to download a new game or a new social app, you have to delete an old one. It forces you to maintain equilibrium. It prevents the clutter from creeping back in.
It's like a closet. If you buy a new shirt, an old one has to go.
Exactly. It keeps you intentional.
I like that. It keeps the clutter from creeping back in. Okay, so let's say we're in the thick of it, or maybe we're not ready for the full 30-day nuclear option yet, but we want to make our devices less addictive immediately. Let's talk about Section 3, tactical defense.
Yes.
How do we engineer the dumb smartphone?
This is where we get into the visual engineering of the device. We want to make the phone boring. We want to turn it from a vibrant, exciting slot machine into a dull gray toolbox.
The first hack, and this one blows my mind every time I try it, is grayscale mode.
Yes. Kimi, Claude, and ChatGPT all mention this. It's in almost every source.
Yeah.
You go into your accessibility settings and you turn the color off. Your entire phone becomes black, white, and gray.
Why is this so effective? Is it just that it looks ugly?
It's biology. It's deeper than aesthetics. We are evolved to be attracted to bright, shiny, colorful things.
Fruit, danger, movement.
Exactly. App designers know this. That little red notification badge is red for a reason. It signals urgency. It mimics the color of blood or ripe berries. It triggers a primal part of our brain.
That's an alarm bell.
It is. The colorful icons are designed to look like candy. When you turn the screen gray, that entire biological trigger disappears. The alarm bell is silenced.
It's true. I've tried it. Instagram in black and white is shockingly boring. You scroll for about 30 seconds and realize, why am I looking at this gray picture of a sandwich? And you put the phone down.
Exactly. It removes the dopamine reward. It breaks the feedback loop. You stop getting the hit from the visual stimulation. Suddenly, the phone is just a slab of glass and metal, not a portal to a magical world.
It feels like a tool again.
That's the goal. What about the wallpaper?
Same logic. Right?
Same logic. Get rid of the beautiful photos of your kids or the vibrant landscapes. Use a solid black or gray background. Make the phone look utilitarian.
But I like seeing my kids' faces.
Then print a photo and put it on your desk or in your wallet. The point is to dissociate the feeling of warmth or entertainment from the device itself. You don't want to feel a cozy glow every time you unlock your phone.
That makes sense. And then there's home screen hygiene.
This is key. Your home screen should only have tool apps.
Like what?
Calendar, maps, notes, maybe a weather app without the red dots. Things you open with a specific purpose.
So where does everything else go?
Everything else. The infinity pool apps, like social media, news, YouTube, needs to be moved off the phone entirely. Or, if you must keep them, bury them deep in a folder on the third page of your screen.
So you have to dig for them. You have to hunt.
You have to add friction. That's a core principle here. Friction is your friend.
I like that.
If you have to swipe 3 times and open a folder that you've deliberately named distractions or time sinks, you have a moment, a pause to ask yourself, do I really want to do this?
And in that pause, your rational brain has a chance to win.
It has a fighting chance, at least.
Okay, let's talk about the biggest intruder of all, notifications.
The bane of our existence. The sources call for an aggressive culling, and I mean aggressive.
The default for every app you download is notify me about everything. Somebody you don't know posted for the first time in a while. Why do I need to know that?
You don't. That is the app trying to steal your attention back. It's a hook to drag you back into their ecosystem. You need to turn off all non-essential notifications. We recommend the whitelist approach.
Okay, what's the whitelist?
You start from a position of 0, go into your settings, and turn off notifications for every single app. Then you only turn on, or whitelist, the ones that are for direct human-to-human interaction.
Oh, phone calls.
Phone calls, yes. Text messages from immediate family or your closest friends, yes. Everything else, likes, retweets, news alerts, app updates, game reminders, silent.
Even email notifications.
Especially email. Unless you are an ER doctor or on call for a nuclear meltdown, you do not need to be notified the second an email lands in your inbox.
What if it's urgent? That's the fear.
If it is truly, genuinely urgent, they will call you. We have conditioned people to think email is for emergencies. It isn't. It's a tool for asynchronous communication.
Asynchronous, meaning I'll get to it when I get to it.
And you'll respond when you're ready. This leads us perfectly into Section 4, behavioral changes. Because changing the settings is one thing, but changing the behavior is a whole other level.
Right. Let's talk about email and this concept of batching.
Copilot gave us a stat that the average person checks their email or chat every 6 minutes.
6 minutes. That's terrifying. That's not even enough time to have a complete thought.
Think about that. You are never more than 6 minutes away from a potential distraction. The minimalist strategy, which ChatGPT and other sources strongly support, is to batch these checks.
So instead of constantly dipping in and out, you do it all at once.
Right. Check your email 2 or 3 times a day at scheduled times.
Like 10:00:00 times, like 10:00 p.m., and maybe 5:00 p.m.
Exactly. Treat it like a physical mailbox. You wouldn't walk out to the curb to check your mailbox every 6 minutes, would you?
No, my neighbors would think I've lost my mind.
Anything yet? No. Anything yet? No. But we do it digitally all day long without a second thought.
That's a great analogy. So you set specific times. But how do you manage the expectations of others? People expect instant replies.
You have to communicate. You can put an autoresponder on your email or simply tell your team to focus on deep work. I check my email at these times. If your matter is an emergency, please call me.
You know, it's funny. Most people are terrified to do that, but when they actually do, people respect it.
They do.
They actually think, wow, this person is organized and values their time.
It signals that your time is valuable. And it creates freedom for you. It allows you to actually do the work you are paid to do rather than just talking about work all day in your inbox.
Let's talk about friction again. We touched on burying apps, but there's also physical friction. What about docking the phone?
This is a game changer for the home environment. When you walk in the door, have a designated spot, a charging station on a bookshelf, a bowl on the entryway table, a shelf in the kitchen where the phone lives.
So it becomes like a landline.
Exactly like a landline. You don't carry it around the house in your pocket.
So no more couch flop where you sit down and immediately pull the phone out?
No, that's gone. No more kitchen counter check while you're waiting for the microwave. If you need to use it, you walk over to the station, use it for its intended purpose, and leave it there.
And do not sleep with it.
Absolutely not. This is a non-negotiable rule. Buy an analog alarm clock. They cost $10.
They still make those.
They do. Keep the phone out of the bedroom. The bedroom should be a sanctuary for sleep and intimacy, not a scrolling zone. The blue light from the screen messes with your melatonin production. The content messes with your cortisol levels. It's a recipe for insomnia.
There are also tools mentioned like unplug. What's that about?
Yes, Perplexity mentioned unplug. It's a really interesting take on adding friction. It's a physical tag a little key, essentially.
Physical object.
A physical object. You can lock your most distracting apps, and the only way to unlock them is to physically touch this key to your phone.
That's fascinating. So it's not just a software block you can bypass with a password you know by heart.
Right. It turns a mindless habit into a very conscious choice. You have to ask yourself, am I willing to get up, find the key, and tap it just to check Instagram for 2 minutes? Usually the answer is no.
It creates just enough of a barrier to let your prefrontal cortex kick in and say, actually, I don't need to do this.
That's the whole game, giving your rational brain a chance to catch up with your impulse.
I love that. It adds a physical barrier to a digital impulse. Now, I want to move to something deeper. We've talked about tactics, but there's a concept here called solitude. And in the context of digital minimalism, solitude doesn't just mean being alone in a room.
No, and this is a profound distinction, maybe one of the most important in all our research. You can be alone in a room, but if you're listening to a podcast or texting a friend, you are not in solitude.
So what is it?
Solitude, as Newport defines it, is freedom from input from other minds.
Freedom from input. That means no voices in your ear, no text on a screen, just you and your own thoughts.
It's the attention resistance. We have become so terrified of our own thoughts, so terrified of boredom, that we plug our ears the second we step out the door.
Uh-huh.
We listen to music while doing chores. We listen to podcasts while walking the dog.
Guilty. I do this constantly. I feel like if I'm not learning something or being entertained every second, I'm wasting time.
But the opposite is true. If you never have silence, your brain never has time to process information. It never has time to synthesize ideas. It's like eating constantly without ever giving your body time to digest.
You just feel bloated with information.
Exactly. You need to practice doing things without headphones. Go for a walk without a podcast. Commute without the radio on. Just look out the window.
It feels weird at first, uncomfortable.
Very. But that is where the aha moments happen. That is where emotional processing happens. If you constantly drown out your feelings with noise, they don't go away, they just build up in the background. Newport argues that deprivation of solitude is a major and overlooked cause of modern anxiety. We simply never process our emotions because we are constantly suppressing them with information and entertainment.
That hits hard. We are numbing ourselves with content.
We are, and that ties into another concept, slow media.
Okay, what is that?
This is about being a connoisseur of information, not just the consumer. Instead of letting an algorithm feed you an endless stream of 15-second clips, you choose to read one long-form article from a trusted source.
Or a book.
Or a book. You curate your own consumption rather than opening your mouth and letting the internet fire hose you with whatever is algorithmically optimized to make you angry or envious.
It's the difference between a carefully prepared, home-cooked meal and eating scraps out of a dumpster behind a casino.
A vivid image, but yes, one is nourishing, the other is, well, garbage.
Okay, so we've done the audit, we've dumbed down the phone, we're seeking solitude, it's been 30 days. Now we get to Section 5, the reintroduction. You finished your declutter, you're clean, you've read 5 books, you feel great.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? Do you just go back to normal?
If you do, you've wasted your time. The reintroduction is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you lock in the benefits. You don't just reinstall everything. You have a strict screening process.
A bouncer at the door of your phone.
A very discerning bouncer. For every single app you're considering bringing back, you have to ask 2 critical questions.
What are they?
First, does this technology actively support a value I hold deeply? And second, and this is the kicker, is this the best way to use technology to support that value?
Give me an example of that in practice.
Okay, let's say you value keeping in touch with your distant cousins. You might say, I need Facebook to see their photos. Okay, that's the value. But is scrolling a feed full of ads and political arguments for an hour the best way to keep in touch?
Probably not. The best way might be to schedule a video call once a month. Or start a group text thread just for family.
Exactly. But maybe you decide Facebook really is the only way to see the new baby pictures. Fine. But then you set a firm rule around its use.
Like what?
Like, I will only check Facebook on my desktop computer on Sunday mornings for 20 minutes.
Ah, the desktop rule. This is a big one. Reintroducing social media only on a computer.
It changes the relationship completely. You don't carry your desktop computer into the bathroom.
I hope not.
You don't pull your laptop out in line at the grocery store. It turns social media back into a deliberate, scheduled activity, not a nervous tick you do 100 times a day.
It adds that friction back in. You have to physically go to a place, log in, check what you need, and then log out.
Right. And you have to maintain this. Digital minimalism isn't a one-time fix, it's a lifestyle. It's an ongoing practice. You need a weekly or monthly review.
Checking in with yourself. Am I slipping? Is my screen time creeping back up?
Am I back to doom scrolling? Is this new app I downloaded actually serving me, or is it just another time sink? You have to keep weeding the digital garden. The weeds will always grow back if you stop paying attention.
And setting what the sources call constitutional rules.
Yes. These are your personal laws for technology use, non-negotiable.
Such as
No screens before 10 a.m., no tech at the dinner table, offline Saturdays.
offline Saturdays are powerful. I've heard of people doing that. Just knowing you have one day a week where you are unreachable. It sounds liberating.
It is. It reminds you that the world keeps turning without your constant input and monitoring. And that is a very comforting thought. It breaks the narcissism of connectivity, the idea that we are so important we must be available 24/7.
We aren't.
We are.
It really is liberating. So let's bring this home. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have a whole philosophy and a practical guide.
To summarize, digital minimalism is about intention. It's not about hating technology. It's about living your own life more than you love the screen.
It's about taking back control. We talked about the process, the audit, the 30-day declutter, and the careful, rule-based reintroduction.
We talked about the tactics, grayscale mode, the dumb phone setup, aggressive notification culling, and the behaviors, batching email, leaving the phone in a drawer, and crucially, embracing solitude.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is about more than just productivity or getting more time back. It's about mental health. It's about creativity. It's about being human. Our attention is the only thing we truly own. It is the lens through which we experience reality. And if that lens is fractured, if it's constantly being hijacked by advertisers and algorithms, our very experience of life is degraded.
We are reclaiming our right to think deeply.
And our right to be present in our own lives.
So here is our final challenge to you. And this one is simple, but it might be the hardest thing you do all week. It's based on that concept of solitude we just discussed.
We want you to go for a walk, just 20 minutes. But you cannot take your phone, you cannot take headphones, no music, no podcasts, no Apple Watch buzzing on your wrist, just you and the world.
If the idea of that terrifies you, if you're thinking, what will I do? Where will I look? What if I get bored? Then that is exactly why you need to do it.
Confront the silence, see what comes up when there's no input. You might be surprised by who you meet when you're finally alone with your own thoughts.
I think I'm going to go turn my phone off right now. For a little bit at least.
Me too. Into the drawer it goes.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you, or maybe we won't, next time.
Take care.